Well, hello there guys, and welcome back to How to Feed the Beast in Minecraft. I have a working microphone again, so we have finally reached what we have been waiting for the last few videos. We are about to make our lightning rod. It seems like such a long time ago now when we started the infrastructure to making this device, but we're finally here. The lightning rod, when struck by lightning, will produce a total of 25 million EU. As the lightning rod has an internal storage of 25 million EU, it will be completely full with a single lightning strike. The lightning rod outputs extreme voltage from all sides, which is 8,192 EU per tick. And this means, unless we're feeding the power directly into a fusion reactor or matter fabricator, we're going to need high voltage transformers on all sides to convert the power down to something manageable and feed it into storage or other machines. If you've been watching the previous videos, I don't need to tell you how complicated and expensive this has been to build, but over the course of the last 6 or 7 videos, we have created all of the parts we need to put it together. So let's head on over to the workshop and start the final assembly. So guys, this is it, the big day. We can finally put our lightning rod together. We're going to need several devices that we've made over the last videos. We are going to need a super condensator, which we finished putting together in the previous video. We're going to need 4 highly advanced machine blocks, which go above, below and to the left and right in the crafting table. We're also going to need 4 energy flow circuits, and they go in the 4 corners. And there we go, we have our lightning rod. And as you can see, it gives you the details there. The energy units per tick out is 8,192, which is extreme voltage, and it appears that the storage has actually been changed in the last patch, and it now has an internal storage of 100 million EU. Lightning Strike may still generate 25 million. I guess that's one of those changes we will have to experiment with. But there we go, we have our lightning rod, and before we can do anything else with it, we need to build the antenna. Now to build the antenna, you're going to need some refined iron, and you want to put that in a crafting table, 3 by 2, to get iron fencing. Now, iron fencing is the material that our antenna is going to be made from. Now, the way antennas work is based purely on height. So, I'm going to go for 64. The reason for that is I only have 64 pieces of scaffold, and I'm going to need to get back down without breaking my neck. So, let's head on up to the roof. Okay guys, here we are. Now if you remember this little piece of infrastructure I put together a couple of weeks ago, what I did, I left a space in the middle. I have 4 high voltage transformers with the inputs all pointing towards the centre, and all 4 of those high voltage transformers are connected directly to an MFSU which will store 10 million EU. Now the idea of this is I want to put my lightning rod right in the centre. So now all 4 output sides of the lightning rod are connected to a high voltage transformer, and any lightning that strikes will go through the high voltage transformers and be converted down into high voltage and then go into the 4 MFSUs. Now we need to build the antenna, and we are going to do that with iron fencing, okay? And we're just going to build up and up and up. Now the important thing with the antenna on the lightning rod is height. There's no point building any sort of fancy network of arms and bits that stick out, because the lightning rod only recognises pieces of iron fence that are directly above, and it is the height of the iron fence that it uses to calculate the chances of being hit. So while I am trying to... I'm going to have to break that now, so I can nerd pole my way up, which is probably the easiest way of doing it. While I'm trying to build this without falling to my death, I'm going to try and explain a little about the way this works. Looks like it isn't going to let me nerd pole either, which is a little inconvenient. Okay, I admit defeat. It's a right pain trying to jump on top of a fence post, and it's very, very difficult trying to lean over the edge of scaffolding to place it. So I'm going to cheat a little bit and do this in creative mode, just because I don't want this to take me all day. So while I'm doing it, I am going to continue to mention the way this works. Now, when you have a lightning rod with an antenna and you have a thunderstorm in progress, some calculations are made to determine if lightning is going to strike the antenna. Now, it doesn't actually matter if one of the lightning strikes from the storm strike the antenna. That isn't what counts. It will generate its own lightning strike if the calculations determine that it is going to get hit. So if you have any devices or magic rings or magic wands that can artificially create a lightning strike, even if it directly hits the antenna, it won't actually create a charge. It's all down to the height of the antenna. Having a higher antenna gives it more chance of being struck by lightning. So you want to build up as high as you can. Now, there are probably several ways to do this. A jetpack would probably be the easiest. Nerd poling up is a little bit tricky because it's very, very difficult to stand on top of a fence post because they are only, well, they're a block and a half high. And that's the whole point of fences, really. They're designed to stop... What happened there? They're designed to stop players and creatures stepping over them. So I'm just doing it this way because I am very lazy. So there we go. Well, I know that the scaffolding was 64 blocks high, so that's about the same, 64, 65 blocks. So let's get all the way back down to the bottom. Bit of an ugly old structure, but that is not too bad. And we have landed, and there we have our antenna, so now I can stop cheating. Okay, super invincible god mode off. I am going to take my axe and bash the bottom block of the scaffold, and it's going to rain scaffolding down on top of me. There we go. Now, will we manage to find all of them? It's a lot of scaffolding. What are we up to? 60, 62... 64, got it all back, brilliant. So there we go, doesn't look too bad now the scaffolding is gone, and we have our lightning rod. Now, as I was saying, the lightning rod until previously actually had an internal storage of 25 million EU, which now looks like it's been increased to 100 million EU. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take another MFSU, and I am going to place that on this side of the building around about here, with the output facing the outer wall so I can eventually channel the power down. I've got some glass fibre cable, and what I'm going to do with these glass fibre cables is I am going to connect the existing MFSUs up, each one to a different input. And the reason I'm going to do that is so that hopefully, if and when the lightning rod gets struck, the power will go through the high voltage transformers, be converted down to a power which the MFSUs can handle. Each of the MFSUs will receive its own charge of power. Then those MFSUs will filter down and go into this single MFSU, which will give us an extra 10 million EU worth of storage capacity. And then we'll have a single output on the front of that MFSU which can go down into the rest of our facility. I think I'm going to try and take this one over the top if I can. It's always the jumping puzzles that get me. Can I reach from here? Yes, I can. That's kind of the direction I wanted to go with it. Let's keep that coming over here. There we go. Let's go back to the middle. Oh. Lots of wires to trip over. It's some sort of health and safety hazard. One more, and I think... Oh no, I went one too far, I think. There we go. Let's bash that. Get rid of it. So, there we go. We now have our complete infrastructure. We have our lightning rod in the middle, with the 4 high voltage transformers connected to 4 MFSUs, and those 4 MFSUs all filter into another single MFSU. Now what we will do in the future is we can harness this power and use it for something like a matter fabricator, or we could also use it for something like a fusion reactor. Now normally a fusion reactor is used to generate power. However, you can feed power into a fusion reactor and use it to create iridium and platinum dust. So it's one of those machines that can work in one of two ways. Now unfortunately, as much as I'd love to demonstrate this, the chances of me actually getting lightning to strike it are probably slim to none. But I'm going to wait around until we get some rain and see if we can actually get a hit. Well, we certainly have rain, but unfortunately rain isn't always the guarantee of a storm. This is one of those things that probably works better using Mystcraft in certain ages with Mystcraft where you have a lot of storms, magically induced storms. Unfortunately, all we seem to be getting here is torrential rain. This is most likely one of the reasons why the lightning rod can generate so much power, and why in the recent patch it has been increased to have a higher internal storage. Because even though increasing the height of the antenna gives it more chance of being struck by lightning, getting a thunderstorm in the first place is fairly rare. Well guys, I've been waiting for quite a while now, and unfortunately I still haven't had a lightning strike. In fact, we still haven't even had a storm yet. It's one of those things that I don't seem to be able to control. But at least the important thing is, we've finally finished our lightning rod. It's all put together, you guys now know how to build it, and how to put the infrastructure down to safely harness its power so we can use that in the future. Either way, I'm going to leave it there, and hopefully it will eventually get struck by lightning and I can let you guys know. I think I'm going to take a little bit of a break from the head busting technology that is Gregtech, and in my next video I'm probably going to move back to forestry a little bit and maybe towards the beekeeping. It's probably about time I got some of my bees acclimatized so that I can use various different breeds of bee in this environment, so expect to be seeing a video on the acclimatizer within the next video or two. But as always, I hope you found this video informative and entertaining. If you have, please like, share and subscribe, because it's you guys that really help this channel to grow. And if you have any ideas for things you'd like to see in a future video, if there's a particular machine or item or mod that you'd like to see me build and demonstrate, either send me a message or leave it in the comments below and I will add it to the list. As I've said before, it does take me a little bit of time to get around to some of the suggestions you guys leave, mainly because I do try and work through the tech tree in a logical order, and also some of the things you ask me to cover are things that I'm not 100% familiar with, so I like to do my research and make sure I get at least a majority of the information right. So, until next time, I've been UnstableVoltage, this has been How to Feed the Beast in a very soggy episode, and I'll see you next time. So goodbye for now.